guys. I am over the moon excited to introduce you to my guest today. Award-winning stage, film, television, voiceover actor, successful playwright, dedicated and well-respected drama teacher and drama chair. I could go on and on. Welcome, Trina Tjersland. Hello.
Hello, Rachel, you doll.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, so excited to be here, really. And to be with you.
Oh, please, the honor is mine, truly. So before we get started, I have to just do a little bit of fangirling if you don't mind. So I have seen Trina on stage and screen, and I've also seen you in rehearsals. And here's what blows my mind. So there's a rehearsal, and in this scene, you have to cry pretty, vehemently. And we're doing it again and again and again. And every time, the tears and the emotion, and I'm sitting there going, how is she doing this? How is she doing this? And it's like, oh, talent, right. That's right. And then seeing you shortly after doing Shakespeare and a comedy, no tears, but just the most natural delivery and hilarious. And it's like, the talent just, it just emanates. So if there's a fan club, may I be the president, please? Because I need my card. Thank you.
Oh, doll. Absolutely. Let's start it. Let's start a fan club. I would love that. As long as we can do have a clubhouse.
Yes. Oh, yes. A secret
Stop.
knock, please. All right, we're doing this.
Secret knock and a secret handshake.
Yes. So tell us, please, you've had quite a journey. You knew you wanted to be an actor from a young age. Tell us about your acting journey and specifically how you had the courage to make a big leap from New York to Los Angeles when you were a baby. Tell us everything.
Okay. Well, I went to school the way you do, went to college, and I went to Boston University because, I auditioned for their School of Fine Arts and I didn't get in. I was heartbroken. I think I auditioned with something really stupid, like Amanda Wingfield in Glass Menagerie, which is not a great show for, not a great role for a 17, 18-year-old girl. Sorry about my phone ringing. I just don't know what to do about that. I'm just going to ignore it.
You're in demand. You're in demand.
I'm in demand, right. Must be somebody who needs my agent. So I didn't get into the school, but I was advised, go to BU anyway, and then try to transfer in. So I was in broadcasting. And so I had a scoliosis, curvature of the spine. And I decided to go and have spinal surgery to get that straightened up. And I was going to be home. So at the age of 20, and it's kind of a weird time because mostly we're so busy at the age of 20. I was home in a body cast after having been away at college for 2 years, on my own, so cool, so hip, so young. And now I'm at home in a body cast. But, it's an interesting time to pause. And I thought, I'm not really doing what I want to do at BU. I was in broadcasting, public relations. I thought that it's not really what I wanted. I really want to still try acting. I'm still young. I want to try acting. So I can't stay on the East Coast. I'm going to go from Delaware, which is where we lived, to LA. I had a friend who lived out there. I'm going to just try it. So I just took the leap and I leapt into Los Angeles and, that whole world. And so that's what I did. And, and it's hard. It's really tough. But when you're young, that's, I think, a great time to pursue it, at least the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of cool how you had that kind of imposed pause upon you. You had to take this, because I think so often we just go on a path and we're like, okay, do, here's what I'm doing. You could have been like a newscaster or something before you knew it.
Yeah. Right. Wait a minute. I'm the weather girl.
Right. Which you would have been great at, but I'm glad you did Shakespeare instead. Yeah. So curious, did you have well-meaning friends and family members who were like, how could you do this? What are you doing? Because I want, what should people say to those well-meaning people who try to talk you out of what is right for you?
Right. Well, a lot of people, oh my God, that phone. I don't even know. Pick it up and there we go. Okay.
So perfect.
So it's just unbelievable. I could unplug it. Let me do that. Excuse me for just 1 second. I don't know what else to do because I don't know who's calling, but.
Talk amongst yourselves. Yes.
Yes, there we go. We're just doing that. So my mother and my father, the adults in my life, they said, acting, it's a tough business. It's a tough business, and I would say, well, what do they know? They're not young, they're not beautiful, they're not talented. I'm doing it. And so I think I just needed to give it a try. And, I found out that it is indeed a really tough business, but I needed to discover that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we need to, sometimes if it's something that you're really passionate about, you just have to go out there and try it yourself and figure out how to do it for yourself,
Right. Yeah. So you really had that courage that was just in you to say anything you want. I'm out of here anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a try, So, and I did. Wow. And I'm glad I did. Yeah.
Well, and then no matter what, you've had a very successful career, but for someone who might want to pivot, it's like, I did try it. They're not on their deathbed saying, if I had only, that's the worst.
Well, I got to tell you, Rachel, when I was in that body cast, again, pause in my early, not to say midlife now, early life pause. Yeah. I was at this thing and was with a family friend, and he was an older guy, and he just he was like the manager of an auto store. He was my parents' age. And I remember him saying to me and drinking and saying, I could have been a lawyer. I should have been a lawyer, but I did, life happened. And I thought to myself, oh no, I do not want to have those regrets later in life that I never tried, So that was also one of those moments, sobering moments where I thought, no, I am going to give this a shot. Yeah.
What a gift that was in a way.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes too, we don't pay attention to those moments. So I'm so glad that you were locked in there.
Yeah. I did not want to have those regrets. And I don't feel like I do,
Yes. Well, now I was going to say acting, they are right. It is quite grueling.
It's very tough business. Yeah.
I mean, all careers in the arts are, but that one seems particularly difficult with, the cattle calls and rejection, everything. So words of wisdom on staying motivated in that kind of very competitive field.
God, that's a really good question. Words of wisdom for that. I think you just have to, you have to be a little thick-skinned. And I think that, you have your group of people that you can talk to, you know what I mean? Because they're going to love you no matter what. You've got to find that group, that core group that can really help you with that, with the disappointment, because you just know you're right for something. You just know it, you should get it. And then you don't get it. And it's disappointing. And it can be discouraging. And I think you just need to know, you just need to have people saying, oh, there's going to be something else. Don't worry. And there's always something else. I also think maybe sometimes, and this is something I could do now, I think, is to just go back to a class and work on the thing that you love, which is the actual acting. Sometimes, you get so consumed with auditioning and commercials and doing stuff that's not exactly Shakespeare or something that you really love, that you just need to go back to what really rocks your world. So those are the things I would say. Yeah.
That is great advice. And the community is such a big thing too, because it is such it's a solitary business. You go in, you audition by yourself, if you will, you come home, you wait by the phone or however it works. And it's different than working in an office, say, where if you have a bad day, it's like, come into my cubicle and we can vent about it. And I didn't think about it as being so solitary. So having that group is really helpful.
Right. Now, when you're in a play or on set, there's a whole lot of people, there's a lot of other actors around, and they can become a part of your group that you talk to later,
right.
in a disappointing moment, or you get a bad review, or,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Never read them,
Speaking of word to the wise, yes, don't read the review.
Yeah, you might.
Or the
YouTube
comments.
But I don't read them.
No, there's no point.
Oh, it can be so terrifying.
And what you said about not getting a part, it kind of makes me think about other jobs, because you could be perfect for the part and they say, we wanted someone 6'3" and brunette. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you're 5'4" and blonde, it's not going to happen no matter how great the reading was.
No.
And that's the same for kind of other jobs where you apply for a job and they're like, well, we hired internally. So you never even like kind of had a shot. So
no, and you know, you really shouldn't audition for things that are out of your age range, or, you know, like there's a lot of casting calls for like body double for like, you know, somebody who's 5 foot and with long dark brown hair. It's not going to be me. You know what I mean? I can't. Yeah, I can't be a body double. I know that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to waste their time, you know. So,
right.
but yeah, I remember a casting agent had a workshop class one afternoon, and she was saying, you know, if you're not in the right age range, don't waste their time. You know, don't get in there, don't book the audition at least, and then come in and have somebody go, why are you even here? You know, you're wasting our time. Because then that could be, you know. So just be mindful of what, you know, what your zone is for, right?
That's brilliant advice for life, actually.
Yeah, right.
You know, like
they're
be
hiring
mindful.
internally. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, you know, of like what's right and what's not, and
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're very wise.
Oh yeah.
So after your huge success on the West Coast, you came back to Delaware. And you began I want to make sure I get all of your stats correct. Very successful tenure as a drama teacher and the chair of the drama department at an esteemed private college prep school. Correct? Yes?
Yes.
And while maintaining a very busy acting career on the stage and the screen. So my question is, what is your advice for someone who might want to keep their passion alive, but turn it into a profession where they can control maybe?
Yes. Well, for me, you know, I ended up being able to be a drama teacher. I went for English. I went back to college because I dropped out of PU, if you'll recall, from that story where I took that pause that refreshes. Yes. And my parents were a little horrified that I was a college dropout. So I actually went back to school. I went to the University of Delaware when I was 26 and 27, which was remarkable. Also, I have to say, what a remarkable time to go back to school. You've had that life experience. Wow. It was really fun. Yeah. And I was going back for English. And as soon as they saw my resume, because I didn't, have anything but theater, they said, oh, you could do our theater as well. You know, you're going to do drama and English as well, which is what I did. So I was able to, for a while anyway, I was able to do some acting and sort of threaded that through my career as a drama teacher. I could go out and be in plays, and that was really exciting. That was great to be able to actually, and to remember what it was like to be the actor.
Right.
Because when you become the director, sometimes you forget some of the things that actors are going through. So, I think also I was a student again too. Whenever I was a student, it was really helpful to remember to be a teacher, what it's like to be you're more vulnerable, so anyway, that would be my advice, is to find something that's adjacent to your job. I know somebody who worked with a casting agent who would be a reader, for a casting agent, for a film, for television, or for theater. You could become a reader. And sometimes you end up getting jobs doing that. I knew a girl back in the day who was, when I was talking about being a body double, she was a body double for somebody, for Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, this was back in the day. And that actress was Rebecca what's her name? Not DeMaria. I'll have to think of her name. She was in, Risky Business.
Oh yeah, Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. She was in my acting class in LA. And I remember, her saying, she was going to go do some body double work for Francis Ford Coppola at Zoetrope. And that might, not only was it great money, but then people saw her, and she's had a very great career,
Wow. So really thinking outside the box, there are different ways to be a professional actor.
Right. Yeah. What's adjacent to just acting.
Yeah. And what I love about that too is I think if someone maybe hasn't had the success they were hoping for or dreaming of, they might say, oh, I'm just going to give up and end up taking some other career that they don't love. But it's like, no, keep the spark alive. Just figure out another way to do it.
Yeah. Pivoting. I think that's something everybody had to do during the pandemic. You know, how else can I do this? And what else, you know, Zoom Shakespeare. I did that. That was fun.
That's so great.
Yes.
How was that? Were you by yourself? Was no one around?
I was right in this room. I had a sheet up behind me. It was wild. And I was a part of we were doing a Shakespeare birthday party. So we were doing scenes from Shakespeare. And, you know, we had it was like, you know, it's just like having a tech rehearsal, but it was done by Zoom. It was very interesting. I'm glad I got to do it.
Yeah. And even that just keeps you sharp, and it's a new way of doing things with technology, and that's good for the brain too.
It was good for the brain. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, can we see that? Can we see that somewhere? Can we?
You know, I'll see if I can't find a link for that.
I would love to see that. We can put it at the end as well, so we can all enjoy you and your magnificence.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
So speaking of going back to school, if the internet is correct, you went back to NYU to get your master's later in your career.
I did.
So my questions for you is, how did you make that decision? And what advice do you have for people who might want to go back to school or might want to take classes, like it's something they've always wanted to do, but feel like I'm too old, or I'll feel weird to be like the old person in the classroom, which is, you know, ridiculous. But I think people think you can't teach an old dog new tricks or something. So,
well, I got to say, you know, when you're older and you go back, I got a master's in theater education, which was really helpful for me in my career. And again, theater adjacent. Yeah. It was really interesting to be one of the older people in the classroom. I was older than most of my professors, or the same age as some of my professors. So it's a different, it skews it a little differently. And I had a lot of these people wanted to be theater educators, right? That's what they wanted to do. So I had some real world experience that I could share. It wasn't like I was the boss of them or anything. I just said, well, this is what happened to me in that situation, you know? And that I loved the experience. I loved being back at NYU. I loved, it was during the summer because I was teaching during the school year. And my school paid for part of that, which was great. And I think a lot of schools would do that for you if you want to go back to school. They're very keen on you actually going back to school in a lot of educational situations. And being in the city in the summer, it was so exciting. I loved it. So I had no fear about that. Oh, I have to tell you the story. This is really funny though, because I was old, right? I was in my, old, you'll laugh. I was like in my late 40s, early 50s. So here's a conversation. Our classes were from like 6 to 9 at night a lot of times because it was summer and a lot of people were taking this as well as working all day. But I was just there working on my schoolwork. So one of my classmates, who was 22, 23, here's what she says to her friend in the class. Well, look, I know it's early, but look, we could get to the bar at 10 or 10:30 and we could get good seats because the band isn't going to start playing till at least 12:30. And then after that, we were going to go to this other club that opens at 3. And I'm thinking, I'm in my jammies at 10 watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, it's my little dorm room. And I was like, what do you mean it's early? I think that says it all. And when are they getting a chance to do the work, you know? Right. But they were making it work, you know. God bless the 23-year-olds. But, you know,
wow.
I had a different point of view. Yeah.
Yeah. And the beauty of that is, you know, really focused on the work and perhaps, you know, learning things at the time.
Call me crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I love reframing that though, as if being an older student, then instead of thinking to yourself, well, I'm too old to do this, think, what could I offer with my life experience to the class and to the other students? That's a great different way of thinking about it.
it is. You can't help but have your life experience affect how you're going to be in a classroom as a student,
Right.
So, and I loved it. And I really, I really thought, oh, they're not going to hang out with me, those kids. They're going to just, but they did. And I made some really good friends. They're just lovely, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was wonderful. And they're so inspiring, right? I got re-inspired all over again just by their worldview and some of the things they wanted to do and the ways in which they thought about being in the classroom or being a theater educator or being an actor. I was just blown away by them. So you can be re-inspired,
Yeah, because I definitely
Really.
think we can tend to get a little jaded sometimes as we age.
Yes. And just kind of, get kind of flat. Yeah. You lose your carbonation.
Oh, what a great word. Let's get recarbonated. Oh my gosh.
That's right, baby.
In the soda stream.
NYU, the soda stream for life. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Which also makes me think, if someone feels like they're in a rut or they've been doing the same thing over and over again, it can be as simple as literally take yourself and put yourself somewhere. I mean, you went into Manhattan for those months.
Oh, yeah.
And even just that changes everything.
It does. And I gotta say, I was a little nervous when I was moving into a dorm. I was, 47 years old. I thought, I'm moving into a dorm? Yeah. Oh my God. But it was so worth doing.
Yeah.
So worth doing.
Did you have your own bathroom?
I had my own room as a graduate. Now, they were meant for 2 students during the school year. NYU had these dorms that had like a little tiny kitchen in the same room and then 2 beds. It was small. Mm-hmm. But for one person, I mean, I was on that. I loved that I had just no roommate. Except for when I was in, I went to England, I went to London for summer where I had to teach in a British school, theater classes. And that was really interesting. And I had my own room, but I had like flatmates and I got very close with one of them. She was a doll. So
yeah.
Totally.
What an inspiration. I mean, because I just feel like we go along, we live, but it's like just something completely different, but not different like out of your comfort zone, and you weren't like becoming a physicist or something, like you were still in your milieu, but just doing it in this different. Oh my gosh, I encourage people, just to do whatever you can to get yourself, especially after the 1.5 years of being so closed down, and just try something, just go somewhere different and try it. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
My gosh.
Sure.
So I'm just like, again, we're fangirling a bit, but back to my questions.
Get back to those questions, Rachel.
You have always, since I've known you, had such a positive outlook on life. You have a beautiful, upbeat personality. How do you choose happiness and peace in your daily life? I believe Tai Chi comes in. Is that correct? Yeah,
that has been amazing. Tai Chi, it has literally changed my balance. Okay. Mm-hmm. When I'm on this, we have these kayaks on the boat. And my partner, when she gets out of the kayak on the back of the swim platform, she could, I don't know if you've ever stood up in a kayak. It's really tippy, right? Mm-hmm. So she has really great balance. She's been doing Tai Chi for a zillion years. She would stand up like a ballerina and step onto the swim platform. I would take my thigh like a manatee and literally like schlep it onto the back of the swim platform and like drag like a sea lion, just drag myself out of the kayak. Okay, so then I start Tai Chi. And every time I'm still trying to at least stand up in the kayak, but it's terrifying. It feels completely wonky and wobbly. Mm-hmm. And after 1 year of Tai Chi, I went back to the boat. Rachel, I'm not kidding. I stood up, and now I'm not as graceful, but I can stand up and get out of, I'm not a manatee or a sea lion anymore. So I literally changed my balance. My physical balance, but I can't help but think that also has changed my mental and my spiritual balance. There's something in Tai Chi where they talk about your chi, Tai Chi, right? And you can really feel it when you're practicing. And it's such a gentle form. You just don't think, how could this possibly be changing everything? But it really does. It's very subtle. It's a lot more subtle than yoga. With yoga, you know, you really feel it. You're like, oh my God, I'm like twisted up like a pretzel right now.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
God. But you never really are twisted up like a pretzel in Tai Chi. But I really think it has affected, you know, just getting centered and balanced. It's good for your balance. I also, you know, I wrote this play, and it is one of my watchwords. It's something wonderful is about to happen. And, you know, if you take that on as one of your mantras, then something wonderful is going to happen.
Yes.
You know, whether it's talking to Rachel or, you know, whatever. It's,
right.
Yes. That, and I think the other thing I've always said is I have to be my own best girl. That's my other thing. Just be your own best girl. You know, just don't look any farther than yourself for making a good choice, a good life, a happy time. I'm my own best girl. That has really served me.
That's so beautiful. That's because we do let so much, you know, we're bombarded with negativity and opinions that we didn't ask for. P.S.
Yeah, you know. Your unsolicited advice. Yeah, right. Ew.
So we can, if we can, and especially with, again, making decisions like to go across the country or to stay in it, you know, in acting, and with the rejection that comes with it, to always know inside to be your own best girl. That's going to get you through.
It is.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to put
that
on my
Tai Chi has really helped that. I must say, that be your own best girl. Yeah, you just have to, like when they say, I think, is it the Buddhists who say inquire within?
Yes.
So
now, did you start with a Tai Chi class, and do you practice on your own? Like, how does that
yeah,
work?
you learn, there's different forms. And the 8 form is the one that I think almost everybody learns first. I can't speak for anybody, but my teacher, you know, she would always teach you the 8 form first. And I actually hired my partner to actually come in and teach. I used Tai Chi before I learned it. I used it in a play. I did Metamorphosis, Mary Zimmerman's play about the Ovid stories. Fascinating. So we started the play with Tai Chi, and Rachel, I am not kidding. Not only did it center my actors, but you could feel it in the audience, because it's the 8 form only takes a couple of minutes to get through. But to watch them do it, ooh, you get really grounded. And then my brilliant choreographer, listen to this, at the end of that play, the very last line of the play, we went back into Tai Chi, and she kind of did this Bollywood dance out of Tai Chi. How cool is that?
Wow.
It was unbelievable. The kids were like, I can't believe we're doing this. This is so cool. It was really great. But so
cool.
Tai Chi, yeah.
I'm going to have to look into it. I've never done it. I would love to. You should
give it a shot. Yeah.
I will.
It's great. And 8 form is really is very easy to learn. And it's got a little balance in there. You'll see what I mean. You know, if you try it, got a couple of kicks and some roosters. And
all right, I'm in. That sounds great. Wow. Well, and if you could just share, I know, and you have things to do, so we will wrap up soon. I could talk to you all day. But you are you really, to me, you're a powerful woman. You're the epitome of a powerful woman. When you did share something wonderful, but do you have any other inspiring words to encourage us? I mean, men and women alike, to really harness our power to go after what we want in life, like you have.
Gosh, I would say take time to think about it. You know what I mean? Like, really think about it. You know, when you have some time, like, what is it you really want to do? Because, you know, since I've retired, you know, I retired early from being a drama teacher, you know, I thought, well, what does I really want to do? And I really wanted to try acting again. And I'm not in a place now where I have to worry about the rent, you know, when I was young, you know, all that stuff. So, you know, give it a shot. Try some of the things you might want to do, whether it's open mic night or community theater, or just writing something and submitting it to someplace, you know. And I think also to just keep it light, you know, whatever. Don't take yourself too seriously. You know what I mean?
That is great advice.
Just keep it light, you know, it's not really brain surgery, unless of course you're a brain surgeon. And then, God love you, but if you're not, or a rocket scientist, you know, it's, you know.
That's beautiful. And it's so true, because I think people think, you know, if I'm not a movie star or whatever, that I'm not. But I mean, let's take acting, for example. If you're acting in community theater, or you're acting in an equity play, or it's the acting, it's the doing, it's the acting, it's the doing it. So do it as much as you can, and don't worry about the trappings of it.
Yeah, right. Just you'll find your path. You'll find your way, you know, because, you know, the thing for me that I've seen between being in plays with professional actors and shows with community theater is that in community, there's a lot of people who are really talented, who can't afford, you know, to leave the job they're in, or they have a family that they have to support. So this is their way of getting to have a moment with their passion, you know. But there's some really talented people out there, and I think you really have and you could also just say, oh, I don't like this at all, or oh, I thought I would love this, and oh, I don't like being in a play, it takes too much time, or oh I love this so much, I want to now be with professional actors who are, you know, pursuing this, because it's just a little bit more intense, you know, with professional actors and professional directors and stuff. It's just a little bit more intense, and a little, but there's definitely some similarities between that and community theater, and I would recommend trying that route.
And that's great advice too, because we may think we might really want to do something, you know, and then get there and be like, oh, this is not at all this is not the glamour. No. And then, you know, the paparazzi I was expecting.
This is not Private Benjamin. Where are the condos on the beach? Right? Where is it?
We were talking before about the glamour of having to get completely undressed backstage, for example, where it's you know, just this is your hands up. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's kind of when, you know, like, I must love this. I must love this.
I must. Yeah. This is interesting. All
right. Yeah. Wow. Well, now that things are opening back up again, please tell us where we can find you and all of your new projects, if you can talk about them.
I don't really have anything, you know, quite yet. You know, I wrote a play, and I'm hoping to workshop that. And when that becomes a little bit more available, I have a YouTube of that. We can put that on there. That Multiples of Maisie. You know, that would be great to show. But I'm working on that and getting that back up. It just, you know, slowly re-entering the world of auditions, and I do some commercials, you know, so it's still up in the air, Rachel. I wish I could say, oh, I don't think I'm alone. I think there are so many actors who are just not sure what they're doing. And the ones who do have something, I'm sure, are so deeply grateful, because it's some dicey times, you know.
Yeah, we have two friends who actually, they're actors on Broadway, and they're just, during the pandemic, it was frightening, because they were like, you know, A, I have to pay rent, you know, and B, we don't know when we're ever going to get on a stage again. And it is slowly, but I think it was 4 shows actually just closed. They were like, we're not coming back at all. I think so it's such and it's a hard enough business getting work as it is. And it's like,
and I've seen some young people sadly they've taken another path. You know, their pivot said, I'm going to law school, or I'm taking this job in tutoring, and I'm leaving Philadelphia for Boston, or, you know, I mean, I'm going to have to make other choices right now, you know, to survive. And like I said, I'm not in that position. I'm extremely lucky that I don't have to worry, you know, about feeding my family right now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's nice to have that kind of control and pick the jobs you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm very confident that we're opening back up and that there's going to be many more opportunities.
Oh, well, I can say from experience that the play you've written is brilliant and magnificent. So if there are any producers out there, or any producers, we'll get you her info, because it needs to be seen. It's phenomenal.
Oh, you are so kind. Thank you.
No, it's just fact. I mean, really. Thank you so much for your time, your brilliant advice. It was just such a joy to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. Rachel, right back at you. I loved this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.